For those who believe, no signs or wonders or miracles are needed. But for those who don't believe, no amount of signs or wonders or miracles will be suffice to make them believe. Dear brothers and sisters in Christ Jesus, signs are not bad. They certainly have their proper place and meaningful nature. When we look at the Bible, there are many signs and wonders. In the Old Testament, we see signs and wonders like Moses' rod becoming a serpent, Exodus 7:10. The Red Sea parted so that God's people could cross, Exodus 14:21. Elijah pronounced a drought upon the land, and he prayed again, and heaven gave rain, 1 Kings 17 onwards. Likewise, there are many more signs and wonders, but the question here is, when outward signs fail to generate any positive emotions, they diverge from their intention. When signs stop being an aid to increase in faith, they lose their meaning. When symbols and signs cease to be a passage for inner understanding, they fail in their purpose. When Jesus began his public ministry, he performed many signs and wonders. Many people flocked to him. They accepted the signs and miracles he did. But there were also others who did see all the signs and miracles, but they neither accepted him nor the signs and wonders that he did. Instead, they did their best to put him down. The group that did not accept him, his teachings, his signs and wonders, miracles, are the scribes, the Pharisees, and the leaders of that time. Today's gospel reading is taken from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 12, verses 38 to 42. It is a continuation of the earlier text, that is chapter 12, 25 to 37, in which Jesus makes a series of pronouncements regarding coming judgments. The Pharisees respond to these statements of Jesus by demanding a sign. In Matthew's Gospel, only disciples or believers addresses Jesus as Lord, and the address teacher here by the Pharisees and his scribes indicate that they are neither the disciples nor believers. Rather, they asked a sign to satisfy their curiosity, but not to trust. They demanded a sign to skim evil talks, but not to have faith. This is the reason why Jesus condemns the Pharisee mentality of seeking for a sign, because they sought a sign to test, but not to believe. For Jesus has shown enough signs for them to believe in him. Even in the earlier passage in Matthew 12, verse 22, Jesus cures a demonic man who was blind and mute, but they, instead of believing in Jesus, accused him that he cast out demons by the power of Beelzebul, the ruler of demons. Jesus regards them an evil and adulterous generation, which means people have closed their hearts to the revelation that God is constantly making. Further building on Jesus' use of the word adultery is never satisfied, just as the scribes never stopped demanding a sign from Jesus. The only sign that was given by Jesus is the sign of prophet Jonah. Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the fish. Jonah chapter 1 verse 17. So too Jesus was 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. When we look at the prophets of the Old Testament, and the life of Jesus, they performed signs. And the only difference between Jesus and the prophets of the Old Testament was this, that Jesus rose from the dead, and that is the greatest sign of all times. The Pharisees demanded a sign, and Jesus answered with a sign, the greatest of them all, his resurrection. And yet they did not believe. They tried to cover up the resurrection story of Jesus by paying money to the soldiers who reported them the truth. For us today, the greatest sign is the resurrection of Jesus, and that is the basis of our faith. For us, St. Paul says, if there is no resurrection of the dead, then Christ has not been raised. And if Christ has not been raised, then our proclamation has been in vain, and your faith has been in vain. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 13 and 14. If Christ has not been raised from the dead, then we should be the people most pitied for. But we know that Christ is risen from the dead. He is alive in our midst. Let us open our eyes and see the many miracles that the Lord is doing in our life. The Eucharist that we have the privilege of participating is the greatest miracle, wherein He comes to dwell in us in the form of ordinary bread and wine. Let us build our faith on Jesus, who is alive and present among us. Let us not look for external signs to build our faith on Him. Let the external signs and wonders and miracles be a help in our faith journey. Amen.